CNBC, we often reference stories from CNBC. We've got a few in the outline for today. CNBC is covering something live in Beverly Hills, California, and the main speaker is in the frame, but in the background there you are. You're not photobombing. I mean, you're not mugging for the camera. You're talking to a couple other people, but that is you in the background of the shot. The people watching on YouTube can see it. What was going on out in Beverly Hills, California?
So it was the annual CAIS ALTs Summit, which means alternative investments. And CAIS has built an amazing platform that we have taken advantage of for our accredited and qualified investors. That means people that have at least $1 million in liquid or $5 million in liquid investable assets can get access to investments that not everybody can. And now President Trump is pushing to get more people access, which I sort of agree with some caution, but alternative investments are those that are not typically liquid, Chip, like your simple main three asset classes are simply going to be like cash or cash-like things like money markets, stocks, and bonds, right? So those are the makeup of the majority of Americans' portfolio that have investments. Alternatives get you into exposure in other areas. It could be commodities, it could be long short funds, hedge funds, private equity, private credit, right? So that's just bonds for companies that are not publicly traded. It's really important to understand why this is so important. Chip, 81% of the companies that have a valuation today in America over $100 million, 81% of them are not publicly traded. So if you do not have access to these markets, you're leaving a wide swath of the potential to earn and invest for your future off the table. And so there is a huge push. And the picture that you showed has got the CEO of CAIS, his mission is to bring this to the masses. It's kind of been mainly in family offices and for the very high affluent. We've been trying to bring this down to everyday customers, but there is hope that you would literally have to take a test. So if you didn't make the qualification of, say, $1 million liquid, there's an income qualifier, $200,000 for a single, $300,000 for a couple that you can qualify. But even if you didn't meet that, we're trying to get it where you can literally take a test. You understand the inherent risks of non-publicly traded investments, and you get access to these type of investments.
Well, is that the issue? Is that why access is limited, because it is a riskier market?
It's not a riskier market, that's the misconception. But it's an illiquid market. In other words, you pay
not as flexible
to have daily liquidity. You actually pay a premium. So the same assets in equity that are publicly traded versus privately traded, it's about 175 basis points or 1.75% per annum additional gain in the private markets because they don't have to worry about you cashing out every day, right? Which means they can run their companies differently for better growth long term. The downside is, we just said, is you can't just sell that asset instantly and liquidate it every day. So therefore, it's not appropriate for except a portion of someone's net worth. So if we have somebody, let's say, has about $2 million, Chip, it would be very appropriate for them to have maybe $250,000 in these type of investments, just giving you a rough estimate number. Somebody has $25 million but lives on normalized income, and we have clients like that as well. It's very common for those families north of $25 million in net worth to have over 50% of their assets in non-liquid investments, commercial real estate, private hedge funds, private equity, private assets, infrastructure funds, et cetera, that are going to pay them sometimes really nice returns, but they have to be willing to let those dollars go. I've talked about all the time, there's alternative investments that I personally use, and you can now get access to, because of these investments, things like Major League Baseball, right? We just had probably the greatest performance in baseball history with the LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani, the game that sent him to the World Series, and the guy pitched 10 strikeouts, I think 7 innings, right? Mm-hmm. No runs given up, and then hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs, one of them out of the park. I mean, very Babe Ruth-esque. So, but owning that, we talked about the contract, thought, wow, $750 million, remember his contract and how he used tax deferral on it, right?
Yes.
They made the money back on his contract in 9 months. 10-year contract, they made it in 9 months because of how popular he is in Asia, right, in the Far East, and the rights they have out there. Anyway, so you'd want access to these type of things, right? They're making pretty good money hand over fist, professional sports. Those are the type of investments that you can get through these alternative platforms. So anyway, that's why I was in Beverly Hills, and I'm just not I'm not a big spender, Chip, but I will tell you, I had to pay $95 for couple of eggs over easy bacon, coffee, and toast
goodness.
one morning at the hotel. That I don't want to tell you what the price tag of that hotel was per night, but I didn't have to pay it. I was invited. I was invited guest on the conference, paid for the hotel, but I did have to pay for that breakfast.
Well, the message you sent along with the shot here was reports of handsome man spotted in the background on CNBC.
That is a good-looking dude.
All right.
Hey, if you're looking for more content like this, make sure you check out these videos, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll be notified when we publish more content that will help you retire smart. Thanks for watching.